Hello, welcome to this update for the severe weather spots of the US and also southern Canada. So we have this light twist today. It has grown a little bit spots of Iowa into Nebraska and the Dakotas even into Minnesota. There's this marginal around it and also this marginal on the east coast and all the way to Illinois. So there's the 15% wind threat around the Nebraska, South Dakota, and to Iowa. Minnesota, there's the 15% hail threat, most of the slight trees. Also, some significant hail in Nebraska possible, so be careful. And 5% on the east as well. There's this 5% tornado threat now in Nebraska for this afternoon and evening, and the 2% as well in the Dakotas and around Iowa, Nebraska, and into northeasternmost Colorado and Minnesota. But especially in Nebraska, be careful there. So scattered strong severe storms should occur for parts of the Dakotas, Nebraska this afternoon and evening, and far western Iowa and southwest Minnesota tonight. Very large hail, severe wind gusts, and a couple of tornadoes appear possible. So stay safe in those areas. Be careful. Here shows the her already by uh, later this afternoon spots of the north. So let's see if I zoom in here. Shows storms in South Dakota, some stronger ones in Nebraska too, especially those stronger cells later in the evening. Spots in Nebraska. Be careful. Show especially those ones later, western central Nebraska could pose a risk for some tornadoes too. So this goes and very large hail, of course, in those storms. So this goes still shows by tomorrow morning some in Minnesota, more rain in the Dakota especially, and let's see here. There's now this enhanced risk for tomorrow, Thursday, on May 15th, spots of Wisconsin into Michigan, northern Indiana, and also Illinois. There's this light risk, goes all the way from Missouri to Minnesota, and this big margin risk extending all the way down to Texas and into parts of the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, especially the Appalachians. So we do have this very wide tornado threat, spots of the Midwest into the Northern Plains, especially Midwest, and those areas. There's the 30% wind threat for those storms, especially, and the 15%, the 5%. So especially be careful some damaging wind gusts in the 30%. And there's hail also 30% and hatched for very large hail, none of those areas. So please stay safe and be careful in those areas. And there's the 5% true. So stay safe. Also the 2% tornado threat and the 5% of course. So scarce severe thunderstorms are expected across parts of the upper Mississippi Valley, the western Great Lakes region Thursday afternoon and evening. More isolated severe thunderstorms are expected through the lower Ohio Valley, the Ozarks Plateau, and parts of the Mid-Atlantic. So stay safe in those areas and have ways to receive warnings very seriously tomorrow. So stay safe. Shows already these storms in Minnesota tomorrow by noon and something. This goes, but especially this is the real problem. Tomorrow shows those storms late in the afternoon firing in Minnesota. You see some very strong cells there, but especially later in the late afternoon and evening, shows some very strong cells in Wisconsin. Those whites there could possibly have some very big to like giant hail and some tornadoes. So this tornado threat might increase still. It might remain at 5% or it might increase just a bit. But this here, this kind of line is more prevalent or strong wind threat in that linear shape. But those cells in between might have some very strong wind gusts and tornadoes too. Especially large hails is the main threat as of now. Wind and hail, but tornadoes also. So shows later by the evening or into the night this very spectacular shot show like this low pressure there in the Dakotas, a lot of rain, this line of severe storms in front of it. So a very interesting big event tomorrow. So stay safe later into eastern Wisconsin and Lake Michigan, some stronger storms. So be careful those areas. There's Cape 2 shows this afternoon in Nebraska more than 2,500 joules per kilogram. Some spots there shows later into Iowa. This goes, but especially tomorrow in southern Minnesota, close to 3,000 joules per kilogram. In Wisconsin, like even like 3,500 very easily. But Illinois is just like crazy, like 5,000 joules per kilogram central Illinois. But luckily, the most severe storms will be in Minnesota and Wisconsin. So you might save yourself in Illinois, but there'll still be some severe storms there as well, because the risk itself extends all the way down to Texas. So this goes and still shows later in southern Wisconsin, Illinois, more than 3,000, 4,000 joules per kilogram. So very unstable atmosphere. Please be careful. And you can see here, I don't know how accurate this is, but you can see some stronger pockets of wind gusts, those storms there, and also in the plains behind that low pressure, some stronger winds. So stay safe in those areas. Here it does show like uh, the significant tornado parameter. Let's see if it shows anything today for Wednesday. So this is this afternoon, still not showing anything, and pretty much doesn't want to show anything that big relate. But wait, like Wednesday 15Z, because now it's Wednesday, so like 17Z still nothing, and 20Z does show some weird things in the south, but there won't really be any big storms there. So that shows some whispers in South Dakota and Nebraska, but not showing that much. But later, there's one to increase later in the evening. So especially like by 3Z, does show in Nebraska some higher parameters later in the evening. So still be careful during the night and during the evening. But for tomorrow, Thursday, this is still during the morning. These goals are already shows in Iowa, a finger or two. By 18Z, already shows some higher parameters in Minnesota for those storms and spots of the Midwest. But especially be careful in Minnesota. Those areas show still in Wisconsin by 20Z, spots of Minnesota to Wisconsin, slightly stronger parameters in some spots there. By Friday 0Z, there were some insane tornado parameters in like Illinois, Missouri, Indiana, but most of the storms will be further north in this, so there might not be many storms to use this fuel further south. But you never know. Better watch. So stay safe. There's here like if we find some dew points, shows like by that time it's a little bit earlier in the afternoon. Let's see, that shows some 70s dew points southern Midwest and some 60 dew points as far north as northern Wisconsin. So a lot of moisture too. So stay safe in those areas. Please be careful. And I only showed you day 2 until now. So day 3 still has for Friday a slight risk, spots of the southern Midwest into the Mississippi Valley and even into Arkansas, the Missouri, more spots there. So there's this marginal risk, goes all the way from Texas to Ohio. So shows like the 15 and 5% chance of severe weather Friday. This might change still. So scarce strong severe storms are expected across the Ohio Valley region Friday afternoon and evening, with more isolated severe storms extending southwestward into northeast Texas. So be careful in those areas for Friday, especially because day 3, the Colorado State University still has a 45% chance of severe weather Friday. So this still might uh, might change a little bit on the Storm Prediction Center, but we will see what happens. But just be aware still for Friday, and here, yeah. So stay safe. Day 4 through 8 is kind of interesting as well. So day 4 nothing. Day 5 we start getting some action again in Oklahoma into Texas in Kansas. So that showed this 15% for Sunday, spots of Texas, Oklahoma into Kansas. And especially Monday, day 6 shows a bigger 15% from Texas to northern Kansas. Day 7, day 8 still nothing, but be careful for Sunday and Monday because of this new trough coming. So like they said yesterday, an active period of severe weather remains likely for the end of the week and Detroit next week. Part of the central corners, because the weakening upper level troughs expected to migrate across the northeast this week, and the second upper level wave begins to amplify across the western states. So this will drive more severe weather there. So be careful those areas. Later for day 6, day 5, the Colorado State University still has a 15.5% of severe weather, pretty much like the SPC as well. The SIPS sometimes has a tiny bit more, so we'll keep watching. Be careful. There's still for Wednesday today a slight risk of excessive rainfall. Spots of Maryland into Virginia, Pennsylvania, and spots of West Virginia. So be careful. In those areas, still some heavy rain. I even saw some spots of flooding in Maryland yesterday. So be careful. Marginal risk in Michigan. This marginal risk in Nebraska and the Dakotas. In spots of Iowa, Minnesota, and also goes into Canada. So there's day 2 a marginal risk in the northern plains. Day 3 further south for Friday. Day 4 still in the mid south and in the northeast. Day 5 is very, very crazy in the southwest, in the central northern high plains, and spots the Midwest and in the northeast. So be careful that rain. The latest update shows upwards of 5 inches of rainfall in North Dakota and South Dakota next 7 days. Next 5 days, close to 5 inches. Next 7 days shows even more. So stay safe in those areas. We'll keep watching. There's here the European model too. So until Monday, the European model does have spots of North Dakota to 4 inches already, and South Dakota 4 inches of rain. But until next Thursday, the 22nd, shows some 5 to 6 inches. So maybe we'll have more rounds of heavy rain next week. The GFS some 5.5 inches next 7 days, and the icon shows even just 6 inches. So we really have to watch this next 7 days or so in those areas for some flooding chances as well. So stay safe in those areas. There's this the heat wave in Texas as well. Abnormal heat increases across Texas as the high pressure anchored across southern plains Gulf Coast will generate anomalous heat across the region for early next week. Widespread heat record potential high temperatures in the upper 90s Gulf Coast and low 110s over inland parts of South Texas may break daytime maximal heat records, and overnight minimums in the 70 may tire break records as well. So limited overnight relief is a danger as well. Low temperatures in the 70s will offer little relief to those heat sensitives or those without adequate cooling overnight. And heat expected to continue into next week. Increased chance for anomalous heat and display to continue through next week. A moderate risk for 60% chance of excessive heats posted across Texas May 21st, 22nd. So there's this slight risk. You can see the risk of excessive heat and the moderate risk. So stay safe in those areas. And here too, like we still have those moderate heat risk across the north still, but especially some extreme heat risk across Texas, a major Wednesday, Thursday, a lot of major heat risk across Texas. Friday, some extreme again, extreme southern Texas. Saturday, even southeastern Texas, some extreme heat risk. Sunday, a big area of extreme heat risk, southern Texas, including San Antonio. So please stay safe. Monday, extreme. Tuesday, extreme. So drink a lot of water and stay cool. Be careful, and sometimes moderate in California in the south. So stay safe in those areas. And this is next week, this next upper trough coming into Sunday and Monday. They'll kickstart the severe weather there again. So this is Sunday. The GFS at 300 millibars shows this next trough coming, and especially into Monday here, if I can find it, shows this comes there. So this is still Monday morning, shows late into Monday night, Tuesday, this coming further into the plains. There's here, let's see if it shows anything interesting about the dew points. So the GFS does have some very good dew points in the 70s ahead of this, and a good dry line there. So we, we might get some pretty good storms next week as well. So stay safe in those areas. And the show here, like the European shoe, bear like the 0 shows those severe storms tomorrow, that low pressure there. So, and also some severe storms in southern Ontario and Canada, so be careful. Friday shows those severe storms again into Saturday, and then shows this Sunday into Monday, and this is already Tuesday. This, yeah, 0 Tuesday is Monday afternoon, so Monday evening. So especially Monday, be careful, and still some later next week. So stay safe in those areas. And it does show here, like, not sure if it has Cape here, but here does have the European. So shows this, especially tomorrow, Thursday, I showed you with the her, it has a very similar thing. But for Sunday, the European already has even to 3,000, 2,000 joules per kilogram. In some areas, and Monday it has even more. But Monday afternoon itself shows even to 3,600 joules per kilogram as far north as Nebraska, especially in Oklahoma and Kansas. So a lot of joules for those storms still there. So stay safe. And still here, I showed you a more complete outlook yesterday of the temperatures and everything throughout Canada and the US. So watch that video if you want to see a more complete outlook. But just in summary, we had these very abnormal high temperatures across southern Canada last few days, and it's all about to change behind the storm season. So areas where it was 35 degrees Celsius, you go down close to zero by Friday in Manitoba and to Ontario. Some more negative temperatures Fridays until Sunday. So stay safe. Saturday, Sunday even shows most of Manitoba and Saskatchewan, Ontario. This cold comes down. So stay safe and stay warm there, because very abrupt temperature shift there. But in Texas and Mexico, even to 46 degrees in Mexico, so very scorching. So please stay safe. That's like absolutely scorching, and in Texas, of course. So here, it's easier to see it here for Texas. So still in the hundreds there, 105, some 70s and 80s in California, spots the southeast, some 80s too. And here it still shows today, Wednesday, some 110 in Texas and even higher. The heat indices might be higher, so keep that in mind too. And still shows 108, 102 tomorrow, in the upper 90s by Thursday afternoon. And Friday still shows into 106, and Saturday in the upper 90s to 100 still, and by Sunday afternoon still to 107, and next Monday still. So stay safe. Those temperatures, be careful in those areas. There's like let's see if I find it here. So by Sunday morning, does show some 30s again in North Dakota because of that cold coming down from Canada, and some 30s, 20s in the mountains still as well. So stay safe. And Saturday morning, some 30s in the north as well, some 30s, 20s in the mountains. So stay safe in those areas. And we are expecting some very heavy rain in Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, still next 5 days. The GFS even has more than 100 millimeters the Virgin Islands, and even up to 4 inches or something. So stay safe there too. We'll have a more detailed video for them coming soon, but just to tell you in advance. So stay safe. And here, uh, let's see if there are any important warnings. So let's see if it works here. So we do have these red flag warnings in the southwest, blowing dust advisories and high wind warnings, and we have these excessive heat warnings already in Texas and heat advisories. So be careful in those areas. Even some flood watches down the east, and even a flash flood warning in spots of New Jersey, Pennsylvania. Some fog advisories in the north, some winter storm warnings, Montana still. So stay safe. The wind here still shows very high spots in the southwest this afternoon. So stay safe. Be careful. The fire danger too, and even shows to 60 mile per gust in a spot or two. By Thursday shows some very high winds in the plains with this surface cyclone. So this goal still shows by Friday. This still like Thursday evening, Friday shows very strong gusts the Midwest, northern plains. By Friday still shows Saturday afternoon in Ohio and back on the southwest again. And then our next system into Sunday and Monday, some strong gusts once again into southwest and into the plains potential next Tuesday. So stay safe in those areas and be careful that those wind gusts as secure anything that might go flying, and be careful with fire danger, those strong gusts. And they're showing in Quebec as well some strong gusts by the GFS like until Sunday, and still some spots by next week. And the European, a similar thing, especially northern Labrador and Quebec, more than 100 km per gusts. So stay safe in those areas. And yeah, some spots in southern Alaska today and Thursday, some strong gusts. So stay safe. There's still snow those areas, especially in the Rockies, some more snow, some 5 inches to 7 inches, spots of Utah, Wyoming, Montana, into Colorado, some 5 inches, some 1 inch in California, close to 2 inches mountains in Oregon, and more in Canada, especially Manitoba, those areas, choose northern Quebec, close to 30 centimeters, more spots western Canada as well. So be careful in those areas. The GFS is more Nunavut, Manitoba, Central Ontario, Central Quebec, the GFS. The Arc is more to eastern, northern Quebec, spots on Manitoba. So be careful, that's snow too. And here, let's see if there's something interesting. So freezing rain. Let's see if it shows something if I put North America. So the European that shows freezing rain next 3 days, northern Ontario and Manitoba. It does show a lot there, even to like this is in inches, but shows even to a quarter of an inch spots northern Ontario into Manitoba. So be careful, some ice and slippery roads in those areas. So very dynamic storm system. Be careful there. And here for those storms might be some severe storms, spots of Canada too, especially in Ontario and the Great Lakes, Thursday into Friday. So you might have some severe thunderstorm warnings. Be careful, including snow is one thing, but heavy rain is also one thing. So shows even to 100 meters southern Saskatchewan and a lot in Manitoba. More rain throughout Quebec and Ontario. So be careful, some heavy rain Manitoba, especially Saskatchewan, and shows some rain on the Pacific too. So stay safe in those areas, and some Pacific showers in Hawaii next 5 days. So stay safe.